The 1-2 pitch. A swing and a miss. Contreras strikes out, and this ballgame has come to an end. And the Angels have won a pair of extra inning games, winning last night by a final score of 5-4 and taking this game tonight 9-7.
That was the final out. Cardinals lose this game today to the Angels. They've lost the first 2 games of this series. They're now just 1 game above 500 after the 3-0 start to the year. They need to win come tomorrow afternoon if they don't want to get swept at home in a series by the Angels. Welcome in. This is the Extra Innings Show here on KMOX, also across the KMOX Sports social media channels. See that audience growing right now on the various social media platforms that we broadcast this from. So whether you are listening on the radio, maybe the Odyssey app, if you're watching it, we certainly appreciate you. And we are here to talk Cardinals baseball. We'll be taking your phone calls, your texts, your comments, your everything as we talk through this one today. This is the way you get in contact with the program. You can call or text at 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call or text. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. Or if you are listening and watching on our social media channels, you can just leave a comment and that comes right to us, and we will address those as we go along after the Cardinals do lose to the Angels. I am encouraged by the fact that the Cardinals came back multiple times in this game. They scored a run in the bottom of the 8th. Now, to be fair, they got some help with that one on a play that was not made by the Angels, but the Cardinals had to have runners on base. They had to do some things in the inning to get to that point, and they forced the issue and they get the run. Was especially happy with what the Cardinals did in the bottom of the 10th inning, where they pushed across 3 runs, although I was disappointed that they did not find another run in that inning. They had a great opportunity to do so and couldn't come up with the proverbial big hit or even the proverbial fly ball that was deep enough to score a run. I was happy with Matthew Liberatore and what he was able to do today. Was happy with Kyle Leahy. Thought he looked very good. He gave the Cardinals the chance to get back in. Happy with Luke and Baker. I'm just mentioning the things that I thought were good in this game. Luke and Baker, for him to come up with that, that's the role that he's going to have, where he has to be able to come off the bench and come up with a big hit in a big moment, and it was good to see him do that. There were certainly other guys who had nice days at the plate. Victor Scott II has a couple hits. Jordan Walker, 2 hits, 2 RBIs, hits a home run. Lars Nootbaar has 2 hits in the game. So there are certainly some positives. The negatives, obviously, is the fact that they gave up 3 runs in both the 10th and the 11th innings. A little bit of a letdown. Ryan Fernandez was not especially good today. Chris Roycroft, I thought, started off strong and then kind of, I don't know if he ran out of gas, but he was not as effective as his day went along. And when all is said and done, the Cardinals end up losing to the Angels by a 9-7 score in 11 innings. Do want to remind you that this show is being brought to you by Graybar. Graybar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Again, if you want to get in contact with the program, you can call, text, tweet, or leave a message on our social media channels. So if you call or text, it's 314-436-7900. Tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. Or just if you're watching it, just leave a comment on whatever social media channel you're on, and we will go ahead and get to it. Let's grab our first phone call of the night. Larry has been patiently holding. Hey, Larry, you're on the Extra Innings Show.
Matt, good evening. So
Hey.
in last night's game, Contreras bunted the runner over, and when he got back into the dugout, Marmol kind of chased him down the walkway, like congratulating him. Was that bunt called from the dugout, or did Contreras bunt on his own? I'm kind of confused. If you call the bunt from the dugout,
Yeah, so no,
the manager normally doesn't chase him down the dugout way.
So here's the story behind that. And Oliver
Okay.
Marmol actually went through the whole thing. He did an appearance on the Gas House Gang earlier today. So it was not called from the dugout. But
Right.
Contreras said basically in that situation, he was not feeling very good at the plate, and he thought the best opportunity he had to help his team out in that situation was to put the bunt down and get the runners over and get the guys behind him a better opportunity to be able to drive in a run. So while the bunt was not called for by Oliver Marmol, I think he appreciated the fact that Contreras recognized kind of where he is right now as a hitter and still tried to do something to help the team.
Mickey Mantle used to say when he was in a slump, the best way to get out of a slump is bunch your way out, get the feel of the ball on the bat again. So I agree with what Contreras did there. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Appreciate the phone call. Mike is giving us a call. Hey, Mike, you're on the Extra Innings Show.
Hey, yeah, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but I think it was Donovan. They were already tied up in extra innings, and he went ahead and tagged and pulled up. I mean, you got to try to score him. The worst you lose is that's the last out, and you carry on into extra innings.
Yeah, and I appreciate the phone call. If he goes there, because it wasn't an especially good throw from Trout, I think he scores. Now, that ball was very shallow in right field, so it wasn't going to take a perfect throw to get him. So I understand why Donovan didn't run there. I think, and if you know that that's the throw that Trout's going to come in, you're not running. You're running there, obviously, but you don't know that. I understand. Mike, I completely understand where you're coming from. Like, force the issue. Worst case scenario is you're tied up and you're going to go play another inning of baseball, but you're forcing the issue and maybe you're going to get a bad throw. I understand that. If that throw would have been coming from maybe 15 feet deeper, not that much more deeper, I think I'd be on the same page with you. But that was a shallow fly ball to right field. It was not going to take that good of a throw to be able to get him. So that's why he made the decision to go ahead and go back. But I certainly understand what you're saying right there. Let's grab a couple text messages from the 573. Another tough loss. I think Ali should have put a lefty in to face Moncada. He left Roycroft out there way too long. Interesting. Let's go through it. I love these. This is where I geek out as a person who hosts a baseball postgame show, because I love looking at the situation and really breaking it down hitter by hitter. If that was a mistake by Oliver Marmol to leave Chris Roycroft in as long as he did. So let's go back to the 11th inning and replay this thing out. So Taylor Ward is the first hitter of the inning. He grounds out to Wilson Contreras. 1 out, no problem there. Next hitter, Luis Rengifo. He had that bunt pop out to Ivan Herrera. So quickly 2 outs in the inning. Very quickly 2 outs in the inning. The next hitter is Mike Trout. They were never going to face him. They threw a few pitches to see if they could get Trout to chase, but they were never going to go after Trout. It's the intentional walk. Kyron Paris then gets a base hit. That is the first red flag of the inning. Kyron Paris gets the base hit. And the next hitter after that is Yohan Moncada. There's no time to get somebody up in that situation. You got to be real careful in these extra inning situations about having pitchers up, because tomorrow's game is being impacted as well. So Roycroft looks fine. He had given up one hit. And then Moncada comes up at that point. So if the issue is that you're worried about Roycroft running out of gas, which I think he did a little bit, to be fair, I think he did a little bit, but there wasn't a single warning sign on it until the Paris hit, and then Moncada is the next hitter. So there's zero time whatsoever to have somebody up and somebody ready. The other side of that, you mentioned a lefty. So you turn Moncada around in that situation, bringing in a lefty. You go look career-wise, his righty-lefty splits. I mean, he's a little bit worse against lefties than righties, but it's not a dramatic difference by any stretch of the mind. So, like, on a surface level, for the texter from the 573, I totally understand where, like, you're coming from, but this is where I love talking through these things, because I think if you look at it from a standpoint of, like, actually how it played out, I would disagree, because there wasn't time. And, after that, where do you go with it? Because, yeah, I mean, at that point, you're gonna leave them in there. You're not gonna burn another pitcher when you're down 3 runs in the 11th inning. So that's how it went. Text message from the 636 said, this 2-game losing streak, is it a reality check? What do the Cardinals need to do? It's going to take a little time for Wilson, but I think he's going to be just fine. But they keep playing I believe there can be at least although if they keep playing the way they're playing, I believe there can be at least a 90-game winner. I don't know if they've got 90 wins, but I think their ceiling is probably in the upper 80s, and that might be enough to win the NL Central this year. That's their ceiling. Their floor is in the 70s and being like a third or fourth place team. They've got a wide range of what they can be this year. So when I say their ceiling is, in the mid to high 80s, that's not me being a homer. That just means saying, if everything goes right for this team, they can be a division-winning team with a respectable amount of wins. If stuff doesn't go well for them, it can be very much on the other side of the spectrum for sure. So Wilson's gonna be fine. Contreras is gonna be fine. He's fighting it right now. This is one of those situations where, like, this teaches you something about the game of baseball, because Contreras looked fantastic on opening day, but he didn't have a hit to show for it. Had good at bats, hitting the ball hard, all those things. Doesn't have a hit for it. Didn't look as good as, as things have moved along since then. And then he doesn't look good at the plate at all right now. Like, it's gone to a point where he looked really good to not looking really good. If one or two of those, like, if he gets a couple knocks on opening day when he has those really good at bats, he's probably not fighting it the way he's fighting it right now. That's how fickle this game of baseball can be, where these things can change things up so very quickly, and you can go from being on a good track to being on the wrong track and trying to find your way back in. It can be tough. It can be tough for sure. Cardinals lose to the Angels by a 9-7 score. If you want to join us, 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air. Lots of ways to get connected to the program. Leave a message on our video stream if you happen to be watching that right now. We will take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue to go through your comments. We'll also hear from Luke and Baker. That's up next. This is the Extra Innings Show on KMOX. Back at it after the Cardinals end up losing to the Angels. Final score in 11 innings, 9-7. My name is Matt Pauley, coming your way from Busch Stadium. We are being brought to you by Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. If you want to get in contact with the program, call or text 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And then also, if you or if you're watching us on the video, you can just leave a comment, and we will get to those comments as we move along. Back to the phones. Barbara has given us a call. Hey, Barbara, you're on the Extra Innings Show.
Yes, sir. I wanted to talk about the torpedo bat. Now, the torpedo bat could make the game more exciting for the fans and everything, and because I heard it's spectacular. It's Cubs had it last year, and the Marlins had it, and it was made by a coach in the Marlins camp. He made the bat, and the bat is legitimate, and it makes hitting even better. And it's a spectacular bat, and the Yankees are using it, and they were hitting like crazy.
Yeah,
and
Barbara,
I think it would be great for the Cardinals to have, because if the Cardinals had it, they may even get twice as many people in the stadium.
Barbara, appreciate the phone call. I actually hope that is something that can help hitters in a profound way, because really most of the developments and the us moving forward in the game of baseball in recent years has really been more geared towards pitching and not hitting. So I would love for there to be something out there that gave a little oomph to the hitters. This is also not something where you just send the torpedo bat to every single team and guys walk out the next game and they start swinging it. Today I was watching MLB Network today, and the CEO of one of the companies that makes it said that they've had tons of orders here recently. Now, if you're a big leaguer, the bat is not just something that you order off the shelf. They are going to design it specifically for your swing, and they're going to try to put the weight of it and the oomph of it at the point that you are most likely to hit the ball. So, but also you got to get used to it. You got to start swinging it in batting practice. You got to work through it. If you just all of a sudden pick it up and start swinging it, it's not going to work. If a golfer goes and gets a brand new set of clubs tomorrow and goes and tries to play, they're probably not going to have a good week. It weighs a little bit different. The weight distribution is different. So it's going to take a little bit of time. But obviously with what the Yankees did against the Brewers, and there being such media attention on it, and there were guys who were swinging it last year. Jeffers, the catcher from Minnesota, he was swinging it against the Cardinals this past weekend. He didn't do anything. Aaron Judge doesn't use it, and he's hit 4 home runs in the first 3 games of the year. So I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit on the profound impact that this is going to have. But at the same time, if it gives you a chance to, barrel up more baseballs, then guys are going to do it. I was watching Harold Reynolds talk about it on MLB Network today, and he took it to their little batting cage area that they've got on the MLB Network set, and he was swinging it, and he said he loved it, as a former ball player. So I think there's something there for sure. I just don't know. It's going to take a little bit of time. The guy who partially created it worked for the Yankees, now works for the Marlins. I would assume we'll see more of it. I think if you went and got into the offices of UPS and FedEx and everything, I think you'd probably find that there's a lot of those bats that are being shipped right now to various major league teams and major league organizations. But it's something that I don't think you just start swinging it and all of a sudden it increases your numbers right away. Got a couple text messages here about the way Helsley was used. 636 says, do not like burning Helsley in a tie game situation. Now he's out tomorrow as well as tonight's loss. Text message from the 225 says, why not have Helsley pitch the 10th inning? So generally speaking, what you do as a team, if you're at home, you turn your bullpen around in the 9th inning. So in the bottom of the 9th inning of a tie game, you go with the closer, and then you go backwards with whoever's available. So if you still have your 8th inning guy available, they would pitch the 10th, so on and so forth. If you're on the road, you generally start that in the 10th inning. That's kind of the general thing. Now to the point that the texter from the 225 made about why not have Helsley pitch the 10th inning, that's actually something I agree with. I understand the optics of maybe losing a game in the bottom of the 9th inning when you leave your catcher, or you leave your closer, I should say, in the bullpen. The optics of that, not great. I understand. So that's the question that you have to answer. If that plays out, the comments on this show are about what's Oliver Marmol doing, leaving Ryan Helsley in the bullpen in a tie game in the 9th inning, and they end up losing in the 9th. So the optics don't look great. But I would say this, with the extra inning rules the way they are right now, this is the only time in baseball where a pitcher with a certain type of skill set is more likely to be successful than another pitcher. If you're a ground ball pitcher and you're really good at it, and you come on to pitch in the 9th inning, you have just as much of a chance to be successful as a strikeout pitcher. But if you come on in the 10th inning, you don't. Because if you're a ground ball pitcher, you might give up 2 ground balls and all of a sudden a run is scored, where if you're a strikeout pitcher, that's not going to be the case. So because the rules are what they are, I think if I'm managing a bullpen and I'm looking at extra innings and I've got a guy like Ryan Helsley, I think my personal choice is to hold him for the 10th inning and not use him in the 9th. I understand why they use him in the 9th. It's not a wrong decision to use him in the 9th. If I want to set my team up for success, I just look at which guys fit which scenarios best. And I like the idea of Ryan Helsley pitching the 10th inning. Not a hill that I'm dying on, not something I'm like overly passionate about, not something that I'm angry about when Ryan Helsley comes on to pitch the 9th inning, because there are certainly games that you may lose in the 9th if Helsley doesn't pitch. So this is not like a big difference making stance by me where all of a sudden you're going to win a bunch more games because of it. I just, generally speaking, I like the idea of your high strikeout closer being in that situation where strikeouts are going to give you a little bit more, chance to be successful. Jay sends a message in via YouTube, says, so the Cardinals could be a 60% winning team, like winning 3 out of 5 games in their rotation. They're not going to win 60% of their games this year. Very few teams do win 60% of their games. Last year, only one team in baseball won 60% of their games. That was the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Brewers, for example, who had a fantastic season in winning the NL Central, they won about 57% of their games. So no, I think the Cardinals' ceiling is probably having about 550 winning percentage this year, and that might be enough to win the division. And appreciate the nice words, Jay. Beyond what we just talked about, I see the other part of your message, and that is a very nice thing that you said. So thank you so much. Text message from the 314 says, tough result, but many good at bats throughout the night. Happiest for Jordan Walker driving one through the cool St. Louis air on a night where a few balls got held up in the park. Ask Mike Trout. Also on the pitching side, Leahy had a nice stretch in a tight ball game. That came in from a ball game. Yeah, I agree with all that stuff. Kyle Leahy's kind of the unsung hero of this game, and that's a role that he has had for a while now. He's been the unsung hero for the Cardinals a bunch of times in his Cardinals tenure, and it has been fun to see what he can do, and he's going to keep getting more and more important spots. Lucan Baker, he had himself a nice plate appearance, came in as a pinch hitter, got a double, drove in a couple runs. Just a little while ago, he was inside of the Cardinals clubhouse, and this is what he had to say to the assembled media.
Shots at that pinch hitting during spring training, how much did that prepare you for this moment, and how big of a hit was that for you?
It felt great. It was nice, not only in spring, but the last couple of years to get into figuring out how to approach these pinch hit at bats, and I feel like it's really helped.
Is it different for you this season where the Cardinals say they want to give guys runway, they want to look at you, make the team out of spring training? Does that add to confidence? Does that make it easier for you?
I've always looked at it the same. It's tale as old as time. If you hit, you won't sit. So my goal has always been to hit so good they can't sit you. So
how important is it for you all to be able to build a rally the way you did in the 10th, to kind of have one guy follow another and sort of have that offense go deep all the way through that inning?
Yeah, that's how you score a lot of runs. Guys taking good at bats one after another, and after the top of the 10th, we come back, get back into that game. It felt good.
When you have these 2 extra inning games this early in the season, they're kind of drag a little bit. What can that do for guys kind of trying to fight through these early season, whatever that is?
I I don't know if guys really noticed it. Not
Sure.
yet, anyways. Maybe further on down the line, but I feel like it's early. Most guys are pretty fresh, so.
We talked about this, but you're a guy who's used to being in the lineup every day. One of the challenges is coming off the bench. How do you stay ready?
I've found a good routine to keep my body ready every day. Take the swings I want to take and do what I need to do in the weight room, and then just treat the at bat like I'm getting at bats every day and just trying to get good pitches to hit.
You said at first when you got up here, you were trying to do a little too much, then you kind of settled in. What is the routine like now?
No, like I just said, it's I treat every day like I'm playing every day, and some days I do and some days I don't. But treating the at bats like they're normal at bats works out better.
That's Lucan Baker speaking to the media just a little while ago. Good start to his season. He's 3 for his first 5 with a double OPS at about 14, actually about 1,500, just under it. So he can be a weapon off the bench. He has been hitting the ball hard. He can be a weapon. And what he just talked about there is key. If he can keep himself in a mental place where he can handle just the 1 at bat per game on most of the games, and then the 1 or 2 starts maybe per week, depending on what kind of pitchers that the Cardinals are going to face off against, that's a really good place for him to be. And he can have a long major league career doing those sort of things. What's on Deck is sponsored by Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. ChesterfieldFence.com. The Cardinals and the Angels are going to attempt to play baseball tomorrow. We'll see how it plays out. It might be a long day here at the ballpark. So neither of these two teams play on Thursday. So I think that maybe gives the two teams the opportunity to wait this thing out a little bit longer tomorrow. If it doesn't, it looks like the rain may start to push out late in the afternoon. If that happens and a window prevails, or the whole system just misses St. Louis and we play baseball from the start, which would be fantastic, which can happen. This past Saturday, it didn't look especially great for playing baseball, and got that game in without too much of an issue. So you never really know what's going to happen with the weather, but we'll acknowledge the fact that it does not look great on the radar here at the moment. If and when they play, Sonny Gray will go for the Cardinals. 1-0, 3.60 ERA. Yosei Kikuchi is going to go for the Angels. 0-1 ERA, sitting at 4.5. 12:15 scheduled first pitch. That means coverage is set to begin at 11:20 in the morning. And if we have a rain delay, you know what? I'll be right here talking to you throughout the day, playing all kinds of incredible audio. So we'll see what happens there. Thanks so much to being tuned in. We, of course, we're reaching a bunch of new audiences right now. We're on the FM dial, 104.1 FM, baby. It's awesome to be on the FM dial. We're doing so much here on the video stream now. I see these the numbers of people who are watching us, which is great, and we certainly appreciate that. So we appreciate all your support. If you did not catch Oliver Marmol on the Gas House Gang this afternoon, go back and find the archive version of it, whether it's the video version or the podcast version. He's going to be doing that every single Tuesday for 30 minutes, 12 to 12:30. And it's going to be your opportunity to leave comments that he will respond to. He will respond to viewer comments. So that's going to be every Tuesday, 12 to 12:30 with the Cardinals manager, talking with you in addition to Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji, and Bernie Miklas on the Gas House Gang every Tuesday. But it was really fun to listen to that today. So again, thanks for being tuned in. Cardinals lose to the Angels 9-7. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Tom Ackerman's got you for pregame. I've got you for some possible rain delay and then post game as well. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on KMOX.